Gentlemen, thank you for joining us again for another Beers of War podcast. It's me, Sir Bigness. I've got Matilda82 and Beer Ninja. And today we're going to discuss the ramifications of the big three canceling on E3 this year. So, Tim, why don't you hit us with the news?
Well, you know what? I did a little extensive research for a couple of hours last night and everything. One thing I know that I really believe is definitely why Nintendo's not showing up is because they really feel like they don't have enough content to push out for 2023. I mean, the big one that they got coming out is the new Zelda game, but that'll already be out before E3 comes out. So, I mean, I can see why. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have some kind of presence over there from them, but I mean, who's to say that's not going to happen? Or even if this is solidified for that matter. PlayStation, those guys basically stopped. I mean, like, I want to say it was 2019 is when they stopped going to E3 at this point. I'm not exact. I still don't even really know for sure why. I mean, they got a lot of good exclusives. I mean, this year for 2023, it's supposed to be like the big comeback for E3 and everything. News and everything. The only one I'm really more confused about is Microsoft. I mean, these guys are part of the ESA. I believe that's the Electronic Software Association. And so, you know, they help set this up and everything. So whether they'll have a presence there one way or another, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, they've already talked about establishing other events and stuff like that to coincide. You know, some people are saying, and I'm not really much of a rumor guy or, you know, hearsay, but this is just what I'm hearing across, you know, the board and the ether. Some people think it's because they laid off a lot of people with Microsoft and everything that had to do. Other parties suggest that it was because of the whole Activision and Blizzard acquisition has been very difficult from what I understand. So, I mean, it can be anything, and we probably won't even know until afterwards. So that's really the only research that I've been able to find about this, just kind of like, okay, I mean, they're still going to have an E3, so, and I'm still going to watch it. I really am. I've always been a big supporter of E3. I really like what they do and everything, and it's always been one of my lifelong goals to attend, especially with the Beers of War. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I was reading on it too. I know Xbox is planning on doing a showcase right around the same time in LA, so they may plan theirs the same week. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to go to E3 of all places to do your showcase. One of the things they were talking about with Nintendo was really the Switch is at the end of its life cycle. If you look at it, because they say about every 6 to 7 years, we're at the tail end of the Switch life cycle. And then PlayStation being PlayStation, I mean, 2019, they haven't been there since 2019. I know one of the talks is that everybody was saying that nobody wanted to go because it turns into a big media frenzy at the end of the event. Who had a better showing? Who had a better outing? Who has better games? And they don't feel like they want to take the negativity with what they brought to the table. So, but yeah, I think that's what it is. I know one of the other things they were talking is a new promoter, event organizer took over this year and in the last 6 months, and they were trying to bring the event back last year, but didn't happen. But they're trying to rush through. Feel like a lot of people feel like they're trying to rush through to get this event organized for this year, and they were behind the 8 ball from the get-go. So they don't know if that's part of the reason why some of the big three may not be there. So what's your take, Kevin?
Well, above everything else, I think it's really frustrating. E3 was, or I hate to use the past tense of it, but it really sounds like we're reading a eulogy for E3. It really was one of those things, one of those weeks that you looked forward to in the year. It was that first week of June. Video games really don't have a season per se, but it always seemed like the rollouts happened right around. Madden was usually the first game that rolled out, and then it was almost every successive week there was another big AAA title rolling out, being a Ghost Recon or Assassin's Creed or the Battlefront series. but there was always something coming out, and Madden was kind of the kickoff to that. So E3 was a precursor. Okay, well, if you sit tight for a couple of months, here's what you've got at the end of the year coming out for your consoles. It was where we found out about every upcoming console that was about to drop. I remember when the Wii was announced, instead of showing the actual console, they just showed the stick. And the reaction, I remember on G4, also rest in peace, G4. I remember seeing on G4, everybody looking at each other go, what is that? And it ended up becoming one of, if not the most, or the best-selling console in gaming history, because it was so interactive, and they showed you how it worked and all the other stuff. And it wasn't the graphical heavyweight that the other consoles was, but what it did is it allowed people that never thought of playing games, that this is something they could get involved in. Granted that we're headed toward the end of the Switch's console life cycle, excuse me, not lifestyle. It would be great to see what Nintendo has on the horizon. They had the Switch OLED that came out last year, I believe it was. And it's a great console. It's an enjoyable console. It brings the graphics up to a level, I guess, slightly below where PS5 and Series X and S are. But who loses in this is the gamers, because I understand that there are showcases. Microsoft and Bethesda had a showcase, I think, 2 weeks ago, which, to be honest, was kind of disappointing, because you want to see Elder Scrolls 6. That's what they're holding on to. They've got Elder Scrolls 6. They've got Fallout 5. Neither one of those things were previewed. Sony has their State of Play that they come out with, and they also had a showing at the what was it? The CES, Consumer Electronics Show. They had a Consumer Electronics Show in January where they showed a little bit of the PSVR2, which drops, I think, at the end of this month. But the gamers really losing this because we don't see what's on the horizon. And these little bitty shows that the console makers are coming out with, yeah, it's nice, but it's always great to see, okay, get your mind on just the video games. So, okay, this console's coming out. Well, this Assassin's Creed game is coming out, and this game's coming out, this game's coming out, instead of it being this fragmented mess, which is what we have right now. And so, by and large, as a gamer, I kind of feel cheated. The pandemic's over, I think, or the behavioral aspects of the pandemic are over. You know, most people vaccinated, whatever. But that was one of those things I was really looking forward to, like sporting events and concerts. And then E3 was one of those things to see everybody come back together and have this triumphant return where we really get back into the world of gaming.
I agree with that.
Speaking of G4, I know we have it. It's back. It came back about a year or so ago.
I think it only came back in the capacity of YouTube. Like there's this.
No, it's actually on our cable package up here with
it died again.
I was gonna say, I just read an article like it just died.
It died again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tells you how much channel surfing I've done lately.
Yeah, they made it about a year. And it was great to see it back. There was a lot of stuff on YouTube. It wasn't on my cable channel. I mean, I have Hulu, so I didn't get to see it on the streaming networks, but I did watch a lot of YouTube G4 content, and it was entertaining. But it was really sad, because that week was almost like, and you know, we do not talk politics here at the Beers of War podcast. We do not, but it almost was like election coverage. Because you had them all dressed up. Kevin Pereira be dressed nice. Morgan Webb would be dressed nice. Adam Sessler would actually look like he had on shoes. And they would get together and talk about, well, this is the next release, and this is what we saw from Sony, and this is what. And it was a news feed. And I'd be on my phone at work. Sorry, people who work with me that hear that. But I'd be on my phone. Okay, what's coming out? When is the next? When is the next showcase and all this? It was so great. It felt, for lack of a better word, I felt seen. I guess you could say this was our week. You know, it wasn't like Super Bowl week or NBA Finals. This was E3 week, and Can't wait. And now,
Yeah, because everybody looked forward to that week on whatever, especially with like advent of the internet and all the streaming you could do on your consoles. I mean, Xbox always had big advertisements on their home screen of when their showcase was going to be or stuff like that. And that's what everybody looked forward to because that's all everybody wanted to see. What's coming up next in the pipeline? What
and how
new
great was? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
what new technology or how they're going to update their user interface on the Xbox 360 at the time and stuff like that. But now it seems like we've gone away from that, and it'd be nice to get a reasoning behind it because I know, like I was mentioned, the new event organizer does the two PAX shows, PAX, every year. So it's not like the organizer is not accustomed to doing these kind of events. So there's something else going on why they're not there. Now the question is, are any of the big publishers not going to be there, like EA and let's say Bethesda's under Xbox, but like different was it BioWare? Different
BioWare's under EA.
Yeah. So like if you see all these developers, are they not going to be there now? Or
And that's one of the oh, go ahead.
Or are they going to be there? That's the thing. I haven't seen anything on that yet.
And that's one of the things that really troubles me because it was an opportunity for a lot of these smaller developers to get seen. You know, they could come out with a great game or show something that really drove people. And I mean, even when they would have their, because you remember when what's the fella's name? Larry was it Larry Herb or what was the guy from Xbox from Microsoft?
Major Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He'd get up there and he'd talk for a few minutes about the specs, or we're going to do this, or we're going to have this, you know, coming. And then you'd see exclusive. And then you'd see a game trailer. And then exclusive. And you'd see a game trailer and be like, coming soon. And you'd see another game trailer. And then he dropped something on you. It's like, this game you can play right now on Xbox. And it was great. It was so good. And to see that taken away for whatever they're doing now. I mean, who doesn't remember the Cyberpunk thing with Keanu Reeves coming out? How great was that? I mean, even though the game wasn't perfect, and y'all have to forgive my four-legged children, even though the game wasn't perfect, it was great to see it introduced, and it was great to see these mainstream Hollywood types embracing the world of gaming.
Yeah, we see a lot of that more with like, well, me and Tim were just talking about earlier today with, I asked him if he had seen the recent trailer for the Ark animated series. And who'd you say was the producers on that?
I saw Gerard Butler, Vin Diesel. Oh, there was another one. Like people I wouldn't.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. That was it. Yeah, people I wouldn't associate with the game at all whatsoever. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see how that pans out and everything. There's also talk about taking the original Ark and they're going to give it like an Unreal Engine finish and everything. And like, I mean, they're going places with the game and whatnot. And hopefully, I mean, seeing how they're really that big, you know, they'll listen to their community and everything and fix things up. Kind of like, you know, what you guys were talking about and everything. It's like a lot of the indie games that are out there right now, those are some really, really good games that are out there. And one of the things, and a mutual friend of ours from Australia, he's the one that said this actually. He would say, you know, he likes more of the communities in there because they actually listen to him. A great example of a game would be Deep Rock Galactic. They have an amazing fan following community that, you know, they listen to their fans, they listen to the community, and they incorporate a lot more stuff into the game, and that's what people want and everything. You know, it's like these AAA titles, man. It's more about deadlines and getting the money and stuff like that, not even polishing up the games like the way they're supposed to be and whatnot. You know, they matter of fact, they pushed back Jedi Survivor, and you know what? I'm all for. I am a big fan. Well, I shouldn't say a big fan, but I approve as far as like having to push back games, because as long as you figure out what the problems are and you can polish it out and put out a really solid product, I'm all for that. I mean, they did that with Gears of War 3. I think I got some promo posters where they were originally supposed to come out, but I was okay with it. Are you going to be disappointed in it a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's worth it and everything. And that's why they push out these demos, whether it's alpha and beta testing. They need to start doing that more often, to where they're listening to the community and listening to what the fans are, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that make them, we're the ones that bring it out.
Now, one thing I have noticed with Xbox, I don't see game demos available as often as they used to. I don't know how it is on the PlayStation side. Do you guys get a lot of demos with the PlayStation?
Actually,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, they kind of bank on them, and I think Xbox more banks on it on the Game Pass and everything for the demos and whatnot.
I don't know. I think Xbox stuff feels like they do more focus on, instead of doing demos, to do game previews, where you get like a beta version of the game, and then based off feedback they develop from there. But unfortunately, you're stuck with the bugs until the next big update and the fix.
The 360 days, man, those were good times for betas and game testing and whatnot. I mean, well, I'd look forward to it, download it and play it and everything. And I remember, what was it? There was a game called Bulletstorm made by I think it was Epic at the time. That made Gears of War 3. So I purposely bought that game because I think they had like a code or something you can redeem to get like early access to the demo and whatever. And so I was like, and I played the game too. I actually liked it. It's actually a really good game. I wish they'd make a sequel to Bulletstorm. It is. It's fun. I mean, it's not for everybody when it comes to its crude taste and humor and not. But I loved it. So I mean, I like all sorts of humor. So, but but playing it and then getting on there and just playing. I mean, of course, you're only playing like team deathmatch and whatnot. But you got to see like new weapons and all that kind of stuff. It was just really fun times in the 360. So many good games came out, so many good demos. I wish they'd kind of like capture that lightning in a bottle right now on their current platform. I just don't really feel it with this right now.
It makes you wonder when you think about it. A lot of these games were coming out because we had so many studios, and the big three, or really not even the big three, the big two, because it's Nintendo just sends out their own stuff. Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft in particular, have been gobbling up these studios just one by one by one by one by one, but you don't see a lot of games coming out as a result of it. You don't really see a whole lot of, as far as like first run AAA titles, you really don't. And it's
because if you go on like the game store, right on the store just on Xbox, I mean, I'm seeing more indie, smaller title games on the store versus the big ones you would normally see.
Yeah. I mean, you really think about it. Like there was Forspoken, which came out last month, and that was I guess a AAA title from Sony. And then you have the Sony hardware coming out next month, or coming out later on this month with the VR2. But then there really isn't a big time release until April, and that's Jedi Survivor.
I think a lot of companies now are focusing more towards the beginning of the year or towards the holiday season now when it comes to releases. That's where they can rake up the most money, the most revenue for it and everything. I mean, it's kind of like always been like that in a way. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that. 100%.
I don't understand that either, because people have money in March too.
This is right around the income taxes, of course.
Yeah, good time to get that money. I mean, good on Sony, because I mean, it's like if you got $530 extra to spare, go pick up that VR2. I don't.
Well, it's like a lot of people with that VR2. That price tag is going to scare a lot of people from buying it.
I'm not in. I bought the first one. I didn't. I mean, other than like using it, It might be different because one of the things they corrected in it is you can with the headset still on, you can go to your actual environment. Like you can click on something and you'll see what's actually around you. But the sensory deprivation fact, especially around when you consider that I had, at the time when I bought it, I had a 6-year-old and I had 3 dogs. So I didn't know who was around me. I take a step, I'm stepping on a dog, I'm knocking over a kid. You know, I need to be able to access the rest of my senses when I'm playing a video game, which is why I really didn't get a whole lot of use out of the VR headset. It's great. It's a great piece of hardware. The Iron Man game on that was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Gran Turismo on that. And the Horizon, what's it called? Burning Shore. Is that Burning Shores? That's going to be the VR title? Possibly. But there is a Horizon title on that. And even outside the titles, there were these like experiences you could do, like a museum, like an interactive museum, or you could go see the cathedral at Notre Dame while you're sitting on your couch, just looking around, looking at this, looking at the art and all that other stuff. It was really some cool stuff you could do with that. Just the sensory deprivation aspect made it prohibitive. And so I wonder if they're going to have that same sort of access and those same sort of experiences with the VR2 headset.
Well, I just looked it up. It's they're wanting $549 for it. That's just the point. But they're already got bundles listed, and it's Horizon Call of the Mountain is the title.
Okay. Is that what makes
so
it
they're
549?
already $549 is just for the headset itself.
The base model. Yeah.
And then with the game, it's $599 and up. Like we talked about, was just having a discussion the other day about it, was you could go get a decent gaming PC with the attachment for VR and still be cheaper than a PlayStation 5 console and a headset, and the VR headset. And
which is ridiculous.
And the PC opens you up to the more games as well if you go that route. That's so true. Somebody who's still on the verge of, who's a PC gamer or a console gamer, or go to a console, they're going to want to probably stick with a PC because they know what they're getting into with the PlayStation VR2 versus VR2 headset.
Isn't the Oculus headset something like $1,300 though?
No, I think the Oculus 2 is only like $299.
Oh, okay.
I think I'd rather freeze myself until they perfect VR, and then when I wake up, it's like Ready Player One. That's what I'm waiting for right there.
Okay, let's see, Oculus. You get the Meta Quest 2, which is a 256 gigabyte for $499. You can get one for 128 gigabytes for $399. So it's basically all varied on your how big of a hard drive storage you want on it.
Okay.
So they need to perfect also the software on it. Like I still can't, like when you're playing the game, all you see is your hand, but where's the arms? Like all that. And when I look down, I want to see everything.
Yeah, I think that's still probably a few years down the road, but I mean, still the feedback that you get from playing some of those games. I mean, like I mentioned on one of the other earlier episodes, I was playing at Kevin's house. I was playing Gran Turismo, and you're driving a track, and you go up a little bump, and it dips down, and it feels like you drove over an actual hill, and you feel your stomach drop. It gets that feedback, that feel. I mean, that I think is what everybody's looking forward to, is the more of the feedback games. I think it's eventually we're going to be like Ready Player One, full body suits, be playing a fighting game or a shooting game, and you get shot and you can feel the hit, the vibration.
Nope. Do not want. Because you know what, the second they develop that technology, you know exactly where that thing is going.
True.
I'm going to recreate the Super Trooper scene where you had the Kevlar cup. on his underwear and everything. Yeah.
That's going south fast.
Oh,
Boy,
God.
that's an express lane when that's going where that one's going. But speaking of that, you're talking about the VR2. I watched a video this morning on YouTube. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Nice segue there. I was watching a video on YouTube this morning about the VR headset in Gran Turismo 7. And it looks nice. Oh, man. It looks so nice. And it is a full experience. It is not a pared down, you can ride on this track against these cars. It is the full game in VR. So we're taking up a collection if you want to drop 20 in towards that headset.
That'd be something more along the lines, especially if the game comes out and the realism, the sims, the simulation, that might push the new Gran Turismo over the new Forza game.
And you don't have to buy the game. You don't have to buy it. No, you don't have to. If you have GT7, it's an automatic add-on.
Yeah, because I know like the people who do the sim racing like the Forza for the sim aspect of it. And now if you get the realism of the headset, looking around, be able to like look around in your car, look over and see the car next to you you're racing, and you can feel the bumps and you get that realism effect, that will probably push Gran Turismo a little bit.
Damn you, dude, you're about to talk me into buying the thing. Stop it.
What'd you say?
You're about to talk me into buying it. Stop it. We got a house payment in February, man.
I would still wait and find out when the actual reviews of it are going to see what people actually say. Because like the other show, the system show that I watch and listen to on the weekends, they kind of are in the feeling that it's not going to go too well because of the price tag. So you might wait and you might be able to get it for a really good price.
That's true.
And
Are they going to make enough too? That's a good question. Are they going to make enough of them to satisfy the customers who are going to purchase them?
Well, if the price is going to stay high, I mean, are they going to have a lot of demand on them?
That's a good point too.
We'll know come February 22nd.
Yeah.
Like what kind of content they're going to have for it? That's also what keeps people around too. Are they going to push out a lot more content or whatnot?
Well, I think the bundle, if the only way they can find them is through a bundle, I think that's not going to help them either.
No. As a gamer and a consumer, and especially as you talk about where the target audience of this is, most of the people who will be buying those VR headsets and most of those people who are buying PS5s, they're full-grown adults. I'm talking like mid-20s and up. They got kids, they got bills, they got real-life stuff that they have to pay for. Pooping out $540 so you can be in VR is not something that people just can do on a whim. They got a budget for that stuff. Also, you can buy a PSVR or you can buy a carton of eggs. You pick one. So it's not something people can just do.
At least not right now. Anyways.
You'll see those You'll see those memes on Facebook in about 15 days. Willing to trade a 18-pack of eggs for a VR2 headset. You're right. I went out and bought eggs for the first time since the prices really spiked, and I was like pretty shocked at what a dozen eggs goes for up here.
Go to Costco. I mean, this is not gaming. I guess you could say we're gaming the system. I think they're like an 18-pack at Costco or 24-pack at Costco is like $6.29. So you might want to try there because we don't have a Costco local, but we here down here in the country, and they've got them up there where the studio is.
Yeah.
What games would you guys like to see come out on VR? You guys have any game in particular you'd like to see a VR game? I could tell you one right now I would love, and I'd be playing that shit all day.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a GTA on.
I just want to chainsaw something. You know, that's all I want to do. Just chainsaw some bad guys.
Has
Just
there been
wish
any
it-
talk with Xbox going the VR route at any time soon?
No. I honestly think Xbox, and I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ninja.
Oh no, that's it. I'm just, just me and my gun. Go ahead.
I honestly think Microsoft is in a dead sprint to get out of hardware manufacturing. I think, and I think at some point you're going to buy a TV, an Xbox TV.
It's gonna
That's
be
going to
built in.
come with
Yeah.
a controller.
Actually, just saw a thing on the Xbox VR. I think you're kind of hitting at the right thing. What Xbox is trying to do to get away from that,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to eventually allow one of the current manufacturers to be able to connect to an Xbox to play games. So let's say like Meta or Oculus. I think they're the same thing, if not. But maybe one of them can connect to your Xbox and be able to play VR games that way. So, because who is it? Phil Spencer, is that his name for Xbox?
That's him, Phil Spencer. That's the one.
So yeah.
He has made comments where he has hinted at possibly bringing like a Game Pass to the Steam Deck. And he is a big fan of the Steam Deck. He's not going to deny it. He will let you know that he likes the Steam Deck. So I think I think that's what it is. I think they're looking to find ways to expand Xbox's reach outside of the PC and the console. And if that's going to the Steam Deck route, I still think them and Xbox are not them and Nintendo are doing some backdoor, because there was a rumor that Breath of the Wild was supposed to be coming to Xbox. So I've seen several stories on that. So I think you're right, and I think eventually the TV, or what if Xbox is already looking more into like improved Netflix type thing for video games?
Like Gamefly.
Didn't they try that? Didn't Google try that with that whatever
Stadia?
that was Stadia that they were doing?
Yeah. There's also a company called Gamefly that did very similar to Netflix. I don't know. I don't think they're still around anymore, but
I haven't seen them in a while. But I remember seeing within the last year and a half, I've seen some commercials for Gamefly. But more of like a Netflix type thing. You go pay a subscription and you can go play games. But the problem is I see the issue with that is making sure the developers get their money back. And so they're going to you pay a monthly subscription, and each developer gets a percentage that's signed into it if their game gets played.
I imagine it works a lot of the same way that Amazon Music works, where you get, I mean, they have the streaming access. A lot of these games that I see on Game Pass, I mean, I was looking at GoldenEye earlier today because I still haven't downloaded it. I'm sorry, Tim. I'm sorry. I've been busy. You see what I cooked the other night? Took a long time. So it's the streaming. I think you have an option to stream a lot of the games that you're not going to play or download to your hard drive, and that's kind of where Game Pass is right now. You can actively stream it, and I guess make your saves to the cloud and keep it off your hard drive. We aren't far from that with Microsoft, and I don't think they're gonna make the leap this next generation, but I imagine at some point they're going to exit the console market, period. Just flat out, we're gone.
That's been talked about for a while, actually, even in the 360 days and everything. Like so many speculations, where they're going to go, what route, where gaming's going to go and everything. And that's going to really, to me, that's going to really divide in some ways, especially for gamers and everything, because you got your digital media and then you got your physical content. We're going to have to adapt to it one way or another if we're going to want to play video games. I mean, I'm not really against digital download or anything like that. I think there's a place for it in this world and everything. But at the end of the day, when it comes to these big guys, it's really about money and, quickest route to get it and everything. I just hope that, someday we can, come across where we can just have the best of both worlds. But I know that's wishful thinking at this point. I mean, we're going into this whole digital phase. They've already done it with books. They've already done it with music. I mean, what else? Everything else you can possibly think of. I mean, nowadays you go into a doctor's office, you can actually go online and fill out your stuff right there without having to sign a piece of paper or anything like that, So everything's just moving that direction, Even retail stores, are now going to get to the point where you're not going to really need to have human interaction that much anymore. It's going to be like maybe some kiosk shop where you go in and put your card in. I've already seen like a pizza place that does that now. You go in there, you put your card in, you get your pizza, and you go. So I don't know. I guess I'm just not ready for it. I mean, I love playing consoles and everything. I love collecting physical media right now, but it's going to happen sooner or later.
So Kevin kind of alluded to a little bit about Xbox and the cloud gaming, where some of the games you can play on the cloud. Does PlayStation have that yet? Does PlayStation have any type of cloud gaming?
I'd have to look and see, but I don't think there's anything where you can directly stream. I think you have to download it.
And maybe Xbox is with the cloud gaming is already testing that market. It may be as soon as even the next gen for them, more of a cloud gaming aspect.
It's already out and everything. I mean, they make these devices. I can't remember the name for it, but basically you can take like your Android and you can put it in this track where it has a controller. Mm-hmm. You go online, you play your gaming from there. You can get some as like low as $100 or something like that. And I'm actually debating on picking one up. I think you can get them through. There's a certain cell phone carrier that actually has them for like $100 and everything. And I wouldn't mind getting a subscription to that and just playing whatever GTA 5, Gears of War on the phone right there, or if I'm at a lunch break or something like that. I mean, I like that kind of technology. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and with the technology of the phones going nowadays, some of the times the screens are better quality than what you can get on your TV.
Really?
I know when my wife,
go ahead.
When I got my wife her phone for Christmas, the new Samsung S22 Ultra, she was streaming Minecraft on her phone because she's like, the graphics seem like a lot better than the TV. So,
if you're interested in purchasing one of those devices where you can play games, I know a certain person who may be able to get you squared away with one, but will. Leave it in the comments if you're interested in purchasing one. But what I'm really concerned about with the whole streaming thing, and we may have voiced this in one of the podcasts before, is the fact that you're not necessarily buying the game itself. You're buying a license to play the game, and that can be cut off, which terrifies me.
That's one of my biggest things right there is, because I'd like to do a podcast on one of these days, physical versus, digital. You buy a game, it's not technically yours because like Steam actually does this. I think they take their games off after a certain long period of time and then it's gone at that point. Whereas physical media, you're always going to have it. It's there. They can't take that away from you. Not only that, I can actually trade in physical media to actually get better deals on games and stuff. You can't do that with digital.
Well, to give you a prime example, Tim, earlier today when we were playing Xbox, I tried to log in to play Forza 7.
Yep.
I couldn't get past. I got to the loading screen one time and it froze up. Every time I log in, it says I need the person who owns it needs to sign in or have a physical copy. I have a digital version. I might have the physical copy. I'm not sure, actually, but because it was on Game Pass, I clicked in and selected on Game Pass, and now I can't play it because
It just took me back about when Xbox One was trying to market their I think it was E3. You remember when that console came out? Like it was a big shit show, right? Because part of it was where you couldn't loan your games out to somebody else and they couldn't play it. It became unusable at that point. That's just crazy. I mean, I can't believe that they would think about something like that.
What, even a physical copy? You could only play it on one console?
Yeah. Like I couldn't loan let's take the Forza game. I wouldn't be able to loan that out to you because that somehow that disc had some kind of digital signature on it that it's been used for something else. Or I don't know how it was. I'm not that tech savvy when it comes to that shit, but I just know that was a big no-no, and a lot of the fans were very upset about it. You know,
it had digital virginity.
Yeah.
You sure? You sure it was the fans that were griping about it and not GameStop because they couldn't give you $2.72 for a trade-in?
Boy, that's a whole another beast to talk about later, man.
Boy,
those guys. Oh man, my last experience with them. I mean, it was okay, but I'm starting to get the taste of what I hear, you know, or what I watched or what I've observed and everything. I don't know, man. It's just become. I don't know how to really explain it. All I know is that I'm very limited to how I can access my games when it comes to physical media and everything like that. Like, I'm a big game hunter, right? Obviously, I go out, I find, you know, games like at Goodwills and stuff like that. Well, now I come to find out that the Goodwills in my area, at least all 3 locations, they anytime they get a video game now, they don't sell them. They actually send them off to their warehouse so they can auction them off and stuff like that. So now, you know, thrift stores and stuff like that are getting involved. So it's making it harder for me to find physical media at that outlet. So that's another thing I got to worry about. But then I go to GameStop, you know, sometimes they'll have good deals, sometimes they won't. I'm not going to lie, I am a pro member over there, so I do get that little $5 coupon every month. And do I take advantage of it? You damn straight I do. Even if it's a $5 game, I don't care. If it's something I want, I'm going to put it in my collection right there. That's just the way it's going to be. But sometimes, like, their deals, it's not always the great. The only ones I ever look forward to, especially when it comes to GameStop now, is buy one, you know, get 2 free or something like that. You know,
yeah,
that's the ones I would actually probably try to look out for. And they're going to phase out a lot of these games and everything eventually too. But they're trying hard, man. Those guys are really trying hard to stay desperate into the game, you know, as far as how it goes. And they've kind of buried their own, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's right or anything like that, just based off my observations. But I mean, I know it kind of sounds like I'm being a hypocrite about it, but yeah, I am a pro member. I still go to GameStop and everything. But right now, that's really one of the main outlets I have to get video games. Of course, we have a store in the mall, but everybody knows you go buying at a mall, everything's just overly priced in a mall right there. You know, retro gaming, from everything like that, everything's just kind of started to go up, you know. And so now I look for those jackpots, you know. Sometimes, like when I went to a different thrift store, I found a brand new copy, sealed PS4 of Death Stranding. You know, that game I think goes for like $20-$30 online. I got it for $6. You know, that's a good day for me, you know. So when I'm looking forward to it, so I still love my physical media. I'm still going to keep it until, you know, whatever they decide to do, until they start putting consoles in our thumbs or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, we got up here. We've got GameStops as well. I personally don't go because I just get it digitally if I want to versus go get a physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do. We've got a place up here called Disc Replay, and it's like a used secondhand store. I mean, they've got videos, DVDs, VHSs. I mean, they sell a little bit of everything. And I mean, you go in and buy Atari cartridges. It's kind of like Games to Go with all the old stuff he has and up to some of the newer stuff. And I like going in there and trying to find like an old PlayStation game that I enjoyed, or a Sega Genesis game or something that I grew up playing. If I find it and it's a decent price, I'll buy it. So.
And for those of you who don't know, who are watching this on YouTube, Games to Go is owned by a Beers of War member, Prime 903, also known as BJ Nix. So if you're on Facebook, please check out the Games to Go Facebook page. Look up the stuff. It's not just games. It's collectibles. It's comic books. It's board games even. Vast selection. And it's one of those places I don't go if I know I've got something coming out of my checking account in a couple of weeks. So, but kind of following up on what you guys said about GameStop, that one of the great memories I have about gaming is midnight releases, and that is something else that has been taken away by and we didn't go into this thinking about the corporatization of video games, but that's really all of these things that we're talking about, from the consoles changing to the price of the consoles, price of the games, going from physical to digital, all of that stuff has been done by the corporatization of video games, the transformation of video games from art into business. And the midnight release parties were one of the best things, one of the greatest memories I had of going out in the middle of the night to pick up a console or pick up a game, and the line and interacting with the people in the line and rushing home. And as soon as you get home and popping the game into your console and playing, or opening the new console, and those are treasured memories as a gamer, and that's part of the fabric of being a gamer. And those are things that don't really exist anymore. There's something much more organic and real about standing in a line with people and waiting to get a console, as opposed to Amazon dropping it off in a box at your doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still do some midnight releases at GameStop, because I think I remember
Kinda, yeah.
a couple of months ago the new Pokemon game that came out on Switch. I remember running into somebody and he said him and his friend were going to go pick it up at midnight. So apparently there's still some. I didn't realize it was still a thing. I know my wife back in the day had gone a couple times to pick up World of Warcraft expansions at midnight at GameStop.
I can only speak. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So if anybody from GameStop happens to be listening or knows the CEO of GameStop, when GTA 6 drops, tell them to do a midnight release party. I will wait my old behind in line with a cup of coffee and a walking stick so I can get my copy.
They still do midnight drops of Magic the Gathering card games.
It just depends on where you live too, you know, how big, because a lot of like where I live and everything, it's not always advertised real well because not too many people show up. But if you're like in the bigger cities and stuff like that, I imagine you'll probably get like some kind of midnight release. In some cases they'll let you in a little bit early and stuff. Like back in the day here, we would like go over there and they would have little contests they throw out, you know, like, you know, you get like something like a game or, you know, some kind of promo. I actually collect a lot of promo stuff from like GameStop, you know, promo posters and whatnot and everything. But yeah, that's kind of gone away too, you know. And like you said, you know, Kevin, just like getting the game and going home, popping in and playing and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's get the game, go home, wait an hour or two to download, and then, you know, in some cases, the first patch, and then try to play with your friends if they hadn't gone to bed already, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that. I mean, a lot of these games are like that now. But no, they need to bring that back. They really do. They need to bring that focus back, because that's where the interaction is. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to Brandon about this earlier on Xbox. You know, there's a lot of disconnection in this world when it comes to devices and stuff like that. You know, when cell phones, before cell phones came out, you know, kids, we had what was called landlines. And with these landlines, they were actually allowing you to connect with the people that you love from faraway distances and whatnot. And now that we got cell phones, their advertisement was basically, let's, you know, keep everybody connected. But nowadays, when it comes to cell phones and stuff like that, we're not that connected anymore. We lost that human interaction and everything. Most people like to speak text, not voice, over the phone, you know. And I just can't do anything like that. If I have a text message and I know it's going to be long and drawn out, I'm just going to call your ass. I mean, there's no sense in me just, you know, keep talking about it and everything. And not only that, you can't really get the true emotion behind texting and everything. And then, so when you go into the gaming and stuff like that, like with this whole thing, kind of just circling back to E3, you know, it's like, where's the human interaction right there? Where's, you know, just, you know, get to talk, meet new people, see what's coming out, be there to see it, you know, and there's nothing like that anymore.
No. Be the collective experience that we all want.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the way things are going, and that's still surprising with the whole, going back to the whole E3 thing, with conventions are coming back. I mean, Gen Con is still coming. It's going to be big this year. I mean, they did some changes, and I'm actually considering possibly going for a day or two this year for a change, the first time since before COVID.
Yeah.
So I just don't see why. I think the draw for E3 that it's back, I think they're going to have a lot more. I think the attendance is going to be a lot better than anticipated or expected. And I don't think, and maybe the big three companies maybe are kind of hesitant to go back into it because they don't think nobody's going to show up. And if it's a overwhelming success this year, they might could reconsider for next year.
Let's hope.
So
Let's hope.
All right. So, guys, did you have your shots prepared?
Yep.
All right.
Pour mine real quick.
I apologize. I did not have the Beers of War shot glass. They're dirty. So
We'll just replace Kevin for the next episode. Nice working with you, Kevin.
I have
We're
failed
taking
you.
applications, by the way.
Don't forget to like, leave us a comment, smash the subscribe button. Thank you so much to all of our listeners, our followers. Please share this if you get it, and please contribute, make a comment, let us know how you feel about any of the topics we discussed today. From Beers of War headquarters, from the library, and from the studio. If you drink, may you drink with me.